The Finance Ministry is downplaying any negative impact of fresh taxes on petroleum products on the economy. Government in the 2021 budget is introducing 2 new taxes on fuel. Now, there are fears that this may destabilize the economy as a result of expected inflation hikes and rise in the cost of living. But speaking to Joy Business, President Akufo-Addo's special representative at the Finance Ministry, Charles Edubwahi, noted that government carried out impact assessments before introducing the levies.
We really had a big debate in 2018, I believe, when we were looking at increasing the road levy, right? The road fund levy, and the road fund levy is a direct petroleum tax like this. And there were concerns at the time that it might lead to transportation price increases and inflation and so on. So that didn't happen. You know, it got absorbed into the system because, in fact, one of the key drivers of increase in petrol price at the pump has been the bad management of the city, because there's a huge component of the price at the pump that is embedded in the cedi depreciation. Because you buy your crude products in hard currency, you bring it in and you sell in cedis. So any depreciation in the currency is passed on to the consumer in a deregulated market. Since we've managed to keep the cedi so stable, we have enjoyed some of the lowest crude prices or prices at the pump over the last 3-4 years. So depending on how astutely you manage the economy, you are able to add on a few pesos onto the price of crude, of fuel at the pump, and still will not have that ripple effect in the economy because your exchange rate is stable, inflation is down. So those are some of the factors we look at. Secondly, last year, we enjoyed some of the best prices at the pump because crude prices went down. COVID hit crude bad. I remember at some point it went down to almost $30 a barrel. Yes, now it's back up to 60, 64, 63, but it's still really lower than where it was back in 2019. And at that time, in 2019, the price of fuel at the pump was higher than where it will be today once we apply this new levy. And so because this new levy will only translate into a 5.7% increase in the price at the pump based on last week's prices when we did the last calculation. So we believe that the translative or the incidence of that tax won't create that kind of inflation or increase in prices, that transportation and so forth and so on, that we would have had if this was done in the days when prices of crude were in the 70s or 80s and the cedi was rapidly depreciating.
Next, we hear the thoughts of energy consultant Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, who says government could have been more circumspect in introducing new levies on petroleum products. He is concerned about the impact on the pockets of consumers who are yet to recover from the economic effects of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Government of the day, or the finance minister, in this case, could have looked at the other dynamics that play into this petrol price build-up. There are 3 categories of things that play into petrol price build-up. Of course, the exchange rates, global oil prices, and then the taxes. Exchange rates we are not doing too bad in recent times. Global oil prices is one of the wildest component among these 3 things that I'm talking about. As we speak now, oil price is around $69, per barrel. We really don't know. That is Brent. We really don't know where this will go. And there are a lot of volatilities within the sector as we speak now, to the extent that OPEC is meeting every other month just to check the market strength and see whether they have to push in oil or they have to take out oil from the basket. And so if you look at the last meeting ended with OPEC still holding to the cut. And the reason being that is simple. OPEC and OPEC Plus members, they are producers, and they are thirsty for high oil prices. So to this extent, it was understandable that they could do that. And why they did that, my opinion, is the fact that over the years or in time past, U.S. shale had the opportunity or was capable or had the muscle to be able to nullify, or if I may say neutralize, the monopolistic tendencies of OPEC. But as we speak now, it's looking like U.S. shale is not having access to the current price in the global oil market. So I was thinking that if you had looked at these dynamics in the international market and juxtapose that with the current prices that the consumer pays at the pump, which is almost like 5.4, I think probably with the 30 pesos cumulatively on the petrol prices, which will translate to about 5.7, the end user is going to pay. I think it will be difficult. It's going to be difficult. Don't be surprised. It will catapult the price build up closer to 5.8, 5.9. And like I said, because this other component, which is the global crude oil prices, which nobody has control over, because that's the wildest component among the three, and we can't do anything about that.
Right.
And because we don't know where it's going to stable, I was thinking that with these fluctuations in the global market, we could have been circumspect, and then hold on to this, prices that are built on that are placed on the price buildup.